Hey everybody, so we're back at the workbench. I bought a new ZWO EAF for my Radian Raptor 61. Really didn't find too much information about putting one of these on a Radian online, so I thought it'd be helpful. I'm going to throw this video out there on how to attach it and set it up. So let's get into it. All right, so first things first, because of how this is going to sit in my saddle, I'm going to have to rotate this focuser around and actually put it on top. So I'm going to take this screw here, I'm going to loosen that up, which is going to allow me to rotate. Hopefully I can get past, and I can't, get past my guide scope here. And the way I think I'm going to do this without trying to upset my alignment, I mean, I'll still have to fine tune it, but at least it won't be so far off to be starting from scratch. I'm just going to loosen up these top ones so that I could hopefully get past this. There we go. Then I could just set this right back down. And hopefully my alignment isn't too far off, so it'll be easier getting that back in spec. So now that we got that, rotate it back over here where it belongs. We'll tighten up that little knob there to keep the rotator, the focuser from rotating. It looks like I'm pretty straight there. Tighten that back up. And then what I'm going to have to do, because I like my orientation of my camera the other way, so good thing is this actually rotates. So I'm just going to rotate my camera now. Oops. And get that back to where it needs to be. All right, so that's done. And what we have to do now is we have to remove the coarse focuser knob. And that's going to be a 2mm hex screw. All right, so in our box we got our focuser, our tools, our bracket, a little pack of screws, and we just need to find out exactly which one of these we're going to use. And looking at the shaft on that, that's a pretty large one, so I'm going to assume it's either going to be this guy or this guy. And that actually seems pretty good. These are going to have two different size holes on either side, because the one on the focuser side is going to be a little bit smaller. Looks like it was the third one from the pack. Now it does look like we have a small flat spot on the shaft to attach this to. We do. So we want to make sure we line up one of the two grub screws with that. Doesn't matter which one. Make sure they're snug pretty well. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to take our focuser that also has a flat spot on it, so we're going to line that up with one of these grub screws as well. get those tight. We're just going to take our focuser and we're just going to turn it upright. Just get in here. This is our little tensioning knob. We're going to remove that. And look, you have 3 holes there. So the 2 holes that we're going to be looking to use are going to be both of these. So the one where the tension knob was, and then there's also just a threaded hole there for the bracket. You just want to make sure you're leaving a gap in here that you're not rubbing, and then also leaving a small gap down in here so that you know that that collar isn't rubbing. So you can kind of see there, a small gap. This side here has got a little bit of a larger gap because you'll see that the flat part on the shaft doesn't go all the way back, and if I was to slide this back any further to try to close up that gap, these screws are not going to be biting into the flat part of the shaft. So leave yourself a little bit of space there. All right, and then so opening up our little pack of hardware screws here, we're going to use the 2 smallest ones and then 2 of the small washers. I did have to take off my my guide scope there, unfortunately. What you're going to want to do is slide it back to the focuser and get these holes lined up here and just kind of get everything loosely fitted. Using the washers and all the hardware screws provided. I didn't need to go buy anything a little longer. We got these ones. These ones now is where you're going to want to tighten the ones up attaching to the focuser. Once you get that in place, now you can tighten these ones down. Again, you don't want to go crazy tight with these, just get it snug. You don't want to strip nothing. And now you're going to want to just kind of check, make sure that everything is kind of parallel to each other. There's nothing at an angle. You know, you can look at your gaps on this little collar, make sure that it's not kind of looking twisted or slanted or anything, so that everything is spinning in line with each other. So once that's done, now I could just put my guide scope back into place. All right, so now everything's all hooked up here. I didn't use the supplied USB cable that came with the focuser. It was a little too long. It was at least 6 feet long, so I had a short one laying around. That's all I need. Everything's hooked up right now, and we're going to move over to the computer and get this set up. What you're going to want to do now is open up the imaging software that you use and set your settings and everything in there once you have your drivers installed. And I'm not going to go through that. I already have them installed from another focuser that I have on my other telescope, but that's really easy. You can just follow the instructions that come with the focuser to go to the website and download those drivers. I'm going to load my profile. I use Nina for my imaging capture, and I'm going to go to my focuser, going to connect that, and I'm going to open up my settings. I'm going to go to advanced, and kind of before we get really started here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the step size here to 100, and I'm going to move it in or out. It doesn't matter what direction you go to, and I want to make sure that I'm moving out when I click out and that it's moving in when it says it's moving in. And I can see that my directions are reversed. I'm hitting out, but the focuser is actually moving in. And if I just kind of increase that, let's say if I go to 500, you'll be able to see I click out and it's actually moving in. So I'm going to uncheck the reverse direction. Move it back. Now it should be moving out. All right, so that's good. The other thing you're going to want to do here is set your 0 position. So I'm going to change my in to maybe 500. I'm going to go back in. As I get closer, I'm going to decrease my step size. All right, so I'm going to go to 100 here. Go back in. And so right there, it stopped. I'm bottomed out. And now you're going to want to click your set 0 and just click yes. You want to set that as your current position. And that's it. Okay, with our current position of 9674 and our tape on both the fine and coarse focus knobs, we're going to just go out 2 or 3 times. And then we're going to try to go back 9674. We're going to hit move. And as you can see, they didn't quite line up. So let's try to go in now. 100. 3. Try to go back 9674. Hit move. And so, I mean, you can see it's going in one direction, but you can see you have backlash because when we were changing directions, it definitely went not as far in its return, going back to the return position. So let's try changing our backlash compensation. 2 was in there. Let's just go to, say, 30. And this is going to be different for everybody, you know, your current position that it's in and what your backlash is going to be within these gears. So let's go out 3 times. We look like we're pretty well lined up. So we're going to go out 1, 2, 3. Let's try to go back to the 9674. Hit move. And so it's close, but not quite there. Let's go in, 2, 3, try to return. 9674, hit move. And again, it's looks like it's pretty well lined up. Let's try adjusting this up to 40. Go out again. So you just got to go back and forth with it. 1, 2, 3. Try to return. That looks pretty good right there. Doesn't seem to be overshooting or undershooting. Let's try going in the other direction. Go in, 1, 2, 3. And then we go back 9674. Move. And that looks pretty good. So it's just a process of going back and forth with it. Let's try going back just in 3 and out 3. And I'm going to call that pretty good right there. 3, back, out, 1, 2, 3. And looks spot on to me. That's pretty much how you kind of figure out your backlash. It's not too intensive. Just you know, do some tape with some lines on it and just play back and forth with it and just keep adjusting your backlash until you get it tuned in. We're going to hit OK. So that's how you set up your backlash and get this focuser installed. That's going to wrap up this video. Hope it was helpful. Please like and subscribe if you're not already, and thanks for watching.